Hi, good morning again, everybody. Hopefully you got something out of what I said this morning in reference to leadership. We're going to kind of use that topic, that leadership topic, and move on over into civility, because that's a very important ingredient, and there's a reason why you all are taking this particular workshop. But I'd like for you all to introduce yourselves first. This workshop is more interactive, where we're going to sit in groups and talk and have a dialogue about the topic of civility and why it's important that we be civil towards each other. But I'll start right here.
Hi, I'm Nina Thomas. I'm on the NACM board. I am also from New Jersey Civil Courts.
Hi, I'm Autumn Hicks. I am the judicial assistant for our municipal court in Billings, Montana.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Hines. I'm the Human Resource Manager with the Administrative Office of the Courts in Georgia.
Okay, Georgia.
Hi, I'm Ashley Stoller. I'm the Communications and Outreach Specialist for the AOC here in Georgia as well.
Good morning. I'm Shoreline Pear. I'm from, you may tell from the accent, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
I'm the Administrative Secretary to the Chief Justice.
Okay, good. Tobago.
Hi, I'm Val Marino, and I'm from the Arvada Municipal Court in Colorado.
Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mary Kay Bateman, and I am from the Municipal Court in Glendale, Colorado.
Glendale.
I'm Randall Soderquist. I'm from the West Windover Courts in Nevada.
Hi, I'm Latricia Kinlow from Tukwila Municipal Court in Washington State, home of the Super Bowl champs. I just want to put that out.
Congratulations.
Good morning. My name is Andrea Patterson from Boise, Idaho, and I'm the HR Director with the Idaho Judicial Branch.
Boise.
Hi, I'm Mike Kelly. I'm with the Hennepin County District Court, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minneapolis. Okay.
Hi, my name is Shelley Ellefson, and I'm the District Administrator in the 3rd Judicial District in Minnesota, which is the southeastern corner of the state.
Okay, wonderful.
My name is Jerry Winter. I'm from the 1st Judicial District, the most uncivil and bullying district of Minnesota.
Oh, really? Wow, I need to come and visit.
And that's the southern metro county, so Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Okay. You agree to that one, huh?
Good morning. My name is Ron Truss. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, Court Administrator for Jefferson County Family Courts.
Okay, Birmingham.
Good morning. I am Sarah Brown Clark. I am the elected clerk, Limited Jurisdiction Court in Youngstown, Ohio.
Youngstown, wonderful.
Sherman Smith for the Seahawks, one of the coaches, born and raised in Youngstown.
Okay, that's good.
Hi, I'm Lisa Rush. I'm manager of the Travis County Law Library in Austin, Texas.
Austin, yes.
Love it. Gene Valentini from the Office of Dispute Resolution, Lubbock, Texas.
Love it.
The only state in the union.
I'm Michael Roosevelt with the California AOC.
Okay. What part of California, Mike?
We cover the entire state, but I'm based in San Francisco.
San Francisco, okay, good. Thank you.
I'm Kim Allison. I am the administrator for the 1st Judicial Circuit in South Dakota.
South Dakota, very good.
Good morning. My name is Avia Banks, and I'm a division manager with the City of Houston.
Good morning. I'm Faye Wright. I'm the Case Management Supervisor for the Recorder's Court here in Chatham County. Good morning. My name is Lennar Bostic, and I'm also with the Recorder's Court in Savannah, Georgia. And there I serve as the Court Services Supervisor. Welcome to our city.
Okay, thank you. Beautiful city.
I'm Tina Jones. I'm from Jefferson City, Missouri. I'm the manager there at the Office of State Courts, which is your AOC, like your AOC office.
Mm-hmm.
Shelley Shiflett, and I'm also from Missouri Office of State Courts, and I work with the Software Implementation Unit.
I'm Jessica Ellis. I'm from Lorraine County Probate Court in Ohio.
Ohio. What part of Ohio?
Lorraine County.
Lorraine.
Towards Cleveland.
Cleveland,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm Darlene Chapman. I'm the court administrator in probate court in Lorraine County, which is 30 miles west of Cleveland.
Okay, got you. Okay, let's give everybody a hand. We have such a wonderfully blessed country to have people from various parts of the United States, and it's all a good, enriching history of our nation. And just to listen to people from all different parts, I was just trying to think, have I been there? Have I been there? Have I been there? In many parts I have. I've been to South Dakota. Who said they were from South Dakota? I've been to Minnesota. Yes, I have been to those North Country states because we have bases in those states. Birmingham, my family's from Birmingham. On my dad's side of the family, my dad went to Tuskegee Institute. My mother's from Montgomery. Okay, I'm from all over. California, most definitely. I lived in California before I got to the East Coast, and never seen snow until I came to Maryland. Okay, from California to Maryland, never seen snow a day in my life because I've always lived in warm places. That's why I think I'm coming back here to Savannah. But just wonderful wealth of diversity of where people come from and what you bring with you, the richness of our great nation, the United States. So thank you. Thank you all again for giving service for what you do, because I know it's not easy, and I know that you're well prepared for it, and you're educated and experienced and knowledge and skills. And the topic of civility is so important on how we are civil towards each other, just from even the opportunity of me wanting you all to share who you are and where you came from. You know, that's part of civility, to recognize people for what they do and who they are. So we're going to talk about civility today. I'm not going to do any keynote speaking. I was telling some folks when I was doing the keynote in there, the plenary in there, that actually I really didn't need the PowerPoints. You know, and I really don't need them here either, because I can talk about civility, because I talk about it all the time. And I talk about it from my intellect as well as my heart. That I just think, and I think it's because of my experience being in the Air Force and also being a military child. So I kind of grew up as a military child and then went into it as a military officer, providing service for this country. I learned so much about diversity, the diversity of people from that, my family background. And I never knew and never understood and still can't understand, okay, as much as I know about people, this thing called, I call them the isms. The isms and the biases and the discrimination that people have towards each other, because everybody is important to me. I could care less about your age, your gender. I love the different age groups, okay? From the younger generation to the more seasoned generation. I love the different cultures. I love the different gender, male, female, of course with that. I love the diversity of this country. I love different places that I've gone to. I just don't go to some places sometimes during the wintertime. Okay? I love the richness of that, because I think the richness of that, of who we are as a nation, makes us who we are. It makes us who we are. But people, when they come to that workplace, for some reason, it can be their socialization process, how they were grown up. My family came from the South. My parents taught me to respect people, to value people. I know the history, but at the same time, I've been around enough to know that everybody is not like that. Understand what I'm saying? And because of my experience, my family, for example, my family now, for example, meaning with me and my siblings and my brother, my siblings, most of us, all of my siblings, it's just 3 of us, and I'm the only girl, I'm the baby. And we all had a military experience. From our southern roots in Alabama to our time in California, which is where I was actually raised in California. We all have had such a wonderful opportunity to meet people of all cultures and all race. When I go to my oldest brother's house for Christmas, it's like the United Nations. It's like the United Nations. I have nieces and nephews that are of different races. My aunts, I have aunts who are white. I have uncles who are white. I have family members that are Latino. I have family members that are Asian. And it's like the United Nations. And I've been to the United Nations. I spoke at the United Nations one year. And it's an amazing, it's a richness that has made me a person to embrace people of who you are. I tell people that say, Jackie, you know what, you don't have a discriminatory bone in your body. I said, yes, I do. That's not true. They said, well, where is it at? I said, I don't like people that don't like people. I don't like people that hold the isms against other people. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your age is, your gender is, your sexual orientation is. I don't care what your religion is. All I care about is how you treat people. Because at the end of the day, all that doesn't matter when time is up, does it? Does it? I think how we're measured as human beings is how we treat people. And I have spent a lifetime trying to get people to stop the hatred. Because logically to me, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. I've spent a lifetime trying to get people to be, as we say, civil and respectful. And when they're in leadership positions, that is an important point to believe in. Because, as I said earlier, leaders either infect or affect an organization. I didn't mention the word in the plenary, but people have hatred in their heart towards each other. We have to stop that. We have to understand what civility means. We have to understand what bullying means, because that's what this topic is about. We have to understand how, if you're talking about work productivity, if you're talking about outstanding performance, if you're talking about excellent service to the community, how are you going to do it if you're not civil internally? Internally, your internal customers. How are we going to do it if we're not civil to each other? During break, a couple people came up to me and told me about some of their personal situations back at their respective locations, dealing with judges, dealing with each other, you know, and wanted some advice. It's, at the judge level, there are some good ones and there are some what? Bad ones. We know that. Court administrator level, there are some good ones and there's some what? Bad ones. Clerk of the courts, I mean, it goes on and on and on. Everybody is not the same. Because my judges back home are great. Those guys, and they're all men, they're great. I have one female judge, she's really super. But they're great. They don't treat people like that. They don't. I would know it if they did, because people would tell me. Jackie, your friend Judge Algio, he's not good. I said, okay, let me go have a talk with Mike. Because I can do that. He and I can sit and talk. I'm saying, do you know what your staff is thinking about you? I can tell him that, because we have that type of history and relationship. So, and it's not always leaders that do it. It's not. Colleagues do it to each other. They're not civil to each other. They're not. I find a lot of that goes on too. So we're going to talk about civility today. You're going to do it from an interactive point of view. It won't be me standing up here doing a whole lot of training and a whole lot of teaching and a whole lot of what else? Add that other word. Preaching. Okay. A lot of my stuff comes from the preaching part, but I believe that we should teach people things. And here's a couple things that I wanted to be the foundation. I said it earlier. Respect, dignity, and what? Allow people to what? To serve. Okay? That's what it's all about. Respect, dignity, and allow people to serve. That's all we have to do. At the same time, though, when we have people who are bullies and people who are not civil towards us, it needs to be addressed. At the same time, though, even when we have people who are bullies and it needs to be addressed, sometimes you can't address it because you are in fear. Okay? It's intimidating. And sometimes the power that they've been given, remember I said it's not about their power. These people literally take power to their heart. Literally. It makes them feel good. I've had a lot of power, but I cherish that power. I cherish it, not to abuse it. Not to abuse it. I said, first of all, it's an opportunity that you've had, and they've given you power, but don't abuse that power. It's called the abuse of power. Don't abuse that power. Cultivate that power. Use that power what? For the people, to help them and to serve, but not to abuse the power. Because eventually, as you go around beating up on people and tearing people down and not being civil to people and not respecting people, eventually it's going to come back on you. People don't believe that, but it does. It comes back in many forms and ways later on when you are ugly towards people. So we need to have conversations about that, and I need you all to be open and honest in your conversations, and maybe give some examples, and leave what out? Names, and leave names out. Okay, we don't need to know the names. I heard one district already, I think it's Minnesota, said that's the most bullying and uncivil area. Okay, so you have a wealth of information that you can share with your group. Okay, so I'm going to move you into a group right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you all can come together and make a circle. Okay, right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5, 6. Make a circle. Okay. You three ladies, I'm going to have you over here. If you all can get up and move over here, and then face this group right here. Okay. All right. You all are a large group right here. I'm going to have you all come together and make a circle. So go ahead and move and take your things with you. Just take a notepad or your iPad or whatever you want. Introduce yourselves if you don't know each other, please. To some wonderful colleagues across the country. From Minnesota to Birmingham, Alabama. And from where again? Idaho. Mm-hmm. Boise, Idaho. We had a military base in Boise, Mount Home. Mm-hmm. I've been there. Mm-hmm. During the summer. It's beautiful there. Beautiful there. Beautiful there. Okay. The very first thing, I'm going to do what we call process and outcome. Outcome is what I want you to learn from our short time today, and then process is that we're going to have some dialogues about it. Based on the very first thing I would like for you all to do, and then someone from your table will present it out, I would like for you before, and please don't, they didn't give you materials beforehand, did they? Okay, good. Okay, I would like for you to come up collectively in your group with a definition for civility, okay? And I want you to talk about that and then also tell us, that's the first thing I want you to do, come up with a definition, and then tell us what are some of the main ingredients that you all would like to see in your definition for civility, okay? You can talk about examples while you're discussing, but I need a definition for civility, okay? So let's take about 10 minutes, come up with a quick definition for civility. Okay, please get your speakers for each group. You can have more than one speaker and figure out how you want to present this to us. Speakers, speakers, speakers. Okay, make sure you have your speakers. Okay, let's bring our conversation to a close. Okay. It's always wonderful. It's always wonderful to be able to talk to colleagues across the country to see what they are experiencing, what they're going through, positive, or what's working, what's not working, to see if you have similar experiences. It's always wonderful to hear that. So you all are 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go with group number 3 first. I'd like for your speakers to come up front, okay? Front and center. Okay, front, center. Okay, let them come up. Let them come up front. Okay.
All right, and it's probably just more of a bullet point of words that we thought described civility. Pleasantly polite, patient, respectful, calm, courteous, agreeable in the face of disagreement, somebody with humility, open to opposing views, and gracious in the face of being right.
Okay. Second part of your? You got somebody else?
What was the second?
What's the impact on the workplace?
And I'm going to drift back here so I can.
Okay.
The impact, one would be the building of coalitions to support opposing viewpoints.
We also talked about how, to tag team on what Mike said, it develops the we-they atmosphere. It creates barriers, so there isn't information exchange.
Mm-hmm.
People aren't willing to work together. It inhibits growth and development. People focus on individuals and not on the work.
Mm-hmm.
People don't talk because they don't feel safe. They have a fear of expressing themselves in the workplace. and good ideas are not exchanged.
Okay, very good. Let's give them hands. Good job. Okay. All right. If you listen to what this group talked about in reference to the impact, I'm really looking for the impact out of this whole conversation based upon your definition. If you look at what this group has talked about, the impact that it has on the quality of work life, okay? If we're talking about we have a vision and a mission and a job to get done, and if we're talking about we're supposed to do it in an excellent what? Fashion. How is it going to be in an excellent fashion? Early on, it may look like it's excellence early on, but if someone were to go in to actually evaluate you and do something called like an employment engagement survey and find out and get the feedback from that, you're not as excellent as you think you are. Because over a period of time, if not very quickly, over a period of time, the impact of not being civil, okay, impacts the work. Quality goes down. And then what happens to service? Okay, the service declines. And then somebody's in what? Trouble. Somebody's in trouble. And it's usually going to be who? The managers. How many of you in here are managers at any level? Raise your hands. Almost every single one of you. Okay? Every single one of you. Let me tell you something about management, whatever level you're at. If your area of responsibility that you're responsible and accountable for, okay, your area, if your area is and I'm going to use this word, failing too often, and you might say, well, it's not because of me, because I'm doing my thing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm talented, I'm experienced, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. But over a period of time, if your office is not producing, if your office doesn't have the morale that it needs to have, who are they going to relieve of duty? The staff? That's too many employees, and that's too much money. Who are they going to relieve of duty? One person, okay? And when I say relieve, I don't mean fired, okay? You're just going to be removed. You'll still get paid, but you'll get removed. And of course, if it's anything illegal or unethical, you get fired, okay? So we have to be very careful of that. It's not going to be the staff that's going to be losing their jobs. It's going to be me, because I'm being held accountable and responsible for the productivity of this workplace. I'm being held accountable and responsible for people being successful. I'm being held accountable and responsible for the morale. So that's why I spend a lot of time with the people that I work with. And that includes also not only me spending a lot of time with the people that I work with, I spend a lot of time keeping my ear to the ground, finding out what's going on. Okay? And when I say finding out what's going on, I am not a micromanager, not at all. If I have to micromanage you, then I don't need you. Okay? Because I already expect you to be talented. I already expect you to be a leader. Now, I'm going to teach you and train you and get the resources from HR to help the office. Okay? But when I say keep my ear to the ground, I know to me, no manager or leader should ever tell anybody above them, beside them, people who they direct, that I don't know what's going on in my office. If you don't know what's going on in your office, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Either your staff's not talking to you for whatever reason, because you're not civil, they won't tell you. Customers are definitely not talking to you. They're just complaining to everybody else. Too many complaints coming out of your area of responsibility. You're not spending enough time taking care of what needs to be taken care of. You're not there. Now, keeping my ear to the ground doesn't mean, okay, it means I'm spending time with my staff, okay, having crucial conversations and giving constructive critical feedback, getting to know them knowing me, knowing what the needs of the office are, and going out making sure that those needs are taken care of. But I'm also doing all that other hard work I have to do. And that includes what? My own individual work that I have to do. That includes being a figurehead. That includes being a liaison. All the meetings I have to go to. How many of you go to meetings? Raise your hands. All the time, and a lot of those meetings are meet to meet. Okay? They are, but you gotta go. You gotta go. You got to be engaged. You got to participate. That's part of the job, even if those meetings are meet-to-meet. You know how many meet-to-meet meetings I go to? And I got my iPad out. They don't know what I'm writing down. Because the meeting's not productive. What's the point? So we have a lot of work to do. That's why you got to stay healthy, you got to stay energized, you got to stay passionate. We have a lot of work to do. And our staff expect that out of us. So if you can build the foundation of civility from the beginning or from the end, I don't know, however you build it, if you can build an atmosphere of civility, it takes less off of you because you can roll your sleeves up and get busy to the critical work that has to be done. If you set the tone of a polite workplace, you set it. It's going to come from you. Because if it comes from you and you are a bully and you set the tone of a workplace that's not civil, then everybody else is going to be that way. They said, Jackie's that way. It becomes the culture. How many of you, again, I know Minnesota. Is it Minnesota? A culture of what? Incivility? It becomes a culture in certain areas. It can become a culture. It's a way of doing business. Yeah, every day I go to that workplace, we know that workplace is not civil. Customers see it as well. They know it. They know about your reputation. And most of the time, you may not want them to come, but most of the time they don't really want to deal with you. So you have to set this thing in place early on. And I heard someone over here say, you want to have politeness with intent. Not just, good morning, that's fake and that's phony. Some people do that, good morning, because they want to say, well, you can't say that I'm not civil. I did say good morning to you. Yeah, but what's the point? I'd rather you not say it. You're not being honest. Do it with purpose. Do it out of your heart. Do it with intent. Do it because you mean it. I'm not just, what's your name? Okay, Kim, such a beautiful outfit you have on, Kim. I'm not just saying good morning to Kim because she's Kim, okay? That's okay. I need some anyway, okay? I'm not saying it because I'm saying it because it's Kim, because it's her. And I value her. She matters to me. And hopefully I matter to her. You don't do that to people. It's so dishonest. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of it, to be honest with you. That's why I'm just going to come down to Savannah, run around, not be responsible for other people, just enjoy the culture, enjoy the heritage, and not deal with it. Because this country, I'm going to say my country, our country, we should be the example of civility because of our history. We should have learned a long time ago. Our workplaces should be the example of places that people will want, from other countries, people will want to come into our workplaces and bring their culture and their heritage and who they are. But from the very beginning, as a manager, I don't care where you're leading from, top, middle, front, okay, as a manager, you set that tone of civility. You have to. Even if you do it out of a selfish reason. It might be selfish. There'll be less stress on you. That's selfish to me, but that's okay. I don't care how you do it. Just do it. Or why you do it, just do it. I would expect you to do it out of what? Purpose and passion and intent from your heart. I don't like working in a stressful workplace. I don't like people fussing and fighting, and when they have conflict, they can't get along with each other. I've seen those workplaces, other workplaces. I have an administrative aide, her name is Burcu. She's from Turkey. Burcu works with me. She's the detailed younger staff member. I'm the seasoned visionary staff member. And we work really, really well together, really well. And she takes care of everything for me, and I take care of everything for her. One day, she came in the office, and she was in tears. She tried to dry him up real quick before I could see him. But I saw him, I said, what's wrong? I mean, I'm emotional now, and she done got me emotional. What's wrong? What happened? I thought it was something at home. It was not. It was something in the workplace. She said, I'm still hurting from something that happened. I said, well, what happened? She had gone to another office, it's not my area of responsibility, but she had gone to another office to actually provide a service to another office. And she said, well, when I went to the other office to give whatever this assignment or project was that she was giving to the other office to help them out, the person who received it, a manager, just blasted her out because it wasn't what he needed. And blasted her out in front of people. And she's a very nice person. You just don't blast people out. And very nice. I said, how many days ago did this happen? She said 2 days ago, and it's still bothering me because of how it happened. and did it in front of other people, took away her what? Dignity, and it wasn't done with what? Respect, okay? I said, why didn't you tell me the day that it happened? She says, Jackie, because I knew you would go fix it, and I didn't want to get you involved in it. I said, well, what did you think I was going to do? How do you think I was going to handle it? She said, I know you were going to fix it. And I said, yeah, I probably would have handled it with firmness. I said, you want me to go over there and talk to him? She said, no, please, because it's going to start something. I said, yes, it will. It'll start something. But I tell you what it will do. I'm going to do it respectfully, with firmness, to let this person know, don't you ever, ever attack someone that works with me again. And the same person, I knew who it was after she told me about the scenario. This person's staff members come to me periodically upset and tell me about him because they are afraid of him, and that workplace, everybody's trying to run out of there. And one time I did sit and talk with him. I said, do you know how your staff feel about you? He says, how do they feel? I said, they hate you. And I could tell him straight up, they hate you. Okay? I said, because of the way you treat them. And they're afraid of you. He said, well, you know, they just need to do their jobs. I said, okay, all right. If this thing blows up on you, don't say that somebody didn't care enough to tell you, because I didn't have to tell him. So you can't do that to people. That's not civility. Even if you are upset with people, sometimes if you are upset, especially if you're coming from an anger management point of view, you need to exhale. You need to exhale before you talk to somebody. Exhale. Because if you don't tolerate certain things and you don't have the patience for certain things, certain behaviors, certain work styles, because we all have different work styles. Everybody's work style is not supposed to be like mine. As long as the end result is excellence, that's all I care about. But you need to exhale. You need to manage your own what? Emotions. Manage your own emotions. Because if someone pushes your button and you get out of your element, that's all people are going to remember. She got out of her element. Did you see Jackie yelling, screaming, and hollering? They're not going to remember all the other good things that I've done. They're going to remember the behavior that was not civil and be characterized by that. I'm not going to be characterized by that. I have to be responsible for my own emotions. And do I get a little upset? Yes, I do. But I step back and I said, Jackie, you can handle this in a different way. I do it all the time. Because everybody's not going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. None of us are perfect. We just strive for perfection, but we expect the results to be excellent. I expect results to be excellent. So you got to exhale, look at your body language, look at your tone. How do you talk to people? Because sometimes when we talk to people in a very condescending attitude. And it's like, I'm up here, you're down there. How do you think you're making people feel? Other than the fact that they don't want to work with you. Here's something, let me talk about generations for a second. What I've observed about the different generations. And I don't want to put everybody in a box, because I'm not, so this is general. This is a general characterization of them, okay? When you have the older employees, who are the traditionalists, who created this opportunity called work for us. They created this thing. I thank my parents and people before them and people before them that I have an opportunity to go every day and perfect my skills all my life and grow and develop and give service, okay? But when they are working in an environment that's not civil, they're already dealing with other issues, you know, issues of newness, technology, and all the things that they did not grow up with, okay? They gave us a lot of stuff to get us started, lots of stuff. I respect them for it, and I value them for it, and I love them for it. I spend time with them. And I don't do a whole lot of talking. I do a whole lot of what? Listening. I learn from them. I learn. Spend time with your parents. You learn from them, okay? Because what that does is it prepares you. If you're wise enough to receive what they're telling you, it prepares you. But if they're working in a workplace that's not civil, they will just what? Sit. They'll retreat. She knows. You know. They'll retreat. They'll shut down. They won't give you any great ideas. They will retreat because they can't stand the instability. They can't stand the incivility. They can't stand the dynamics of that type of environment. They will retreat. Then you got another group of us. I always say us because I'm one of them. 80 million of us baby boomers. When we work in a workplace that's not civil, we do try to give you a chance to correct the problem. We do try. But if it's not corrected, most of us, and it's been proven statistically, will file an EEO complaint against you. We come from the justice or injustice time period. We will file an EEO complaint. We'll file a complaint against you in a heartbeat. Ask a baby boomer. You treat me bad? I grew up with civil rights, or I grew up with equal rights and equal opportunity. I know my rights. I will file a complaint against you. So you got that group that they will file a complaint because they're tired of it. Okay? And if it's not happening to them and they see it happening to somebody else, they'll try to intervene. They're tired of it. Then you got that next group, as we call the Generation X. Sometimes back in the day, they were the latchkey kids. Okay? That group, highly what? Talented, technologically advanced, know a lot of things, efficient and effective, can get things done. My Burju is in that group. Can get things done, okay, quickly. If they're in a hostile work environment, I call it a hostile work environment because it is. When they're in a hostile work environment, think about all the money you spend on hiring people. It's a lot of money. Lots of money and a lot of education, a lot of training, a lot of everything. They're not going to necessarily file a complaint. They're going to sit back, watch you. Sometimes, and they usually don't take a lot of leave, but all of a sudden, they're taking some leave. Using up their leave, rightfully so. What have they done? Not only look for one, what? Got one. They're leaving. They got to deal with this. They're gone. They have found a job, but they're not going to leave. But they're not going to leave before they find another job. Then you got that last group. That's the group you all were talking about over here. That last group that have the work ethic is a little different. I just call it different. But they're so highly talented. Oh my God, they're talented and efficient and can get things done. Okay, which group is that? What are they called? The millennials. Okay, really talented. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I love working around them. I teach a lot of them. I love working around them. They have to understand, though, and most of them do, that are really on the career track, and somebody's already talked to them, and they got it, okay? That my job is to mentor them, coach them, and get you ready for leadership if that's what you want, if you're willing to what? Listen, okay? That group, they love social networking. It's a social networking group. Get used to it, folks. It's a social networking group. But for me in the workplace, as long as that social networking has to do with what? Work. During your breaks, get on Facebook, okay? And if Facebook is a part of this work, then get on Facebook. I need you to go. Get on Facebook and help me out. You can navigate it better than me. I'm not even on there, okay? All right, with that group, because they are so talented, they don't like a lot of stress. They really don't. What they'll do is they'll go to which generation and ask questions. Why is this workplace like this? Why did he do that? Why did they do that? Why do they have so much conflict? Why is this such a hostile work environment? Who do they usually go to talk about that conversation? Say it again, I heard it. Huh? The traditionalists. They'll go to the traditionalists. And the traditionalists will tell them, well, you know, honey, you know. But what will they do? Most of them will do this. They'll do it. They're taking some time. They're not taking time off necessarily. They're going to quit. They just quit. Because they all said it's not that serious and I'll get me another what? Job. They'll quit. Look at how much, look at the human capital management that you have lost. I try to keep that generation. They are the future generation. And they are talented. Okay? But I have to work with them, some of them, to get them to understand. Okay, about rules and regulations and dress and all that kind of stuff, and and following, standards, okay? But they're talented. Why would you let that group go? Why would you let any group go? Why would you shut down the older generation who built this thing? Out of respect to them, you don't shut them down. You listen to them and you include them, because oftentimes we will leave them out. And you have patience with them in the learning curve, or stop making assumptions that they can't learn. Because I'm going to tell you, when I get in that group, I'm going to keep learning, because I don't want to get left what? Behind. And guess what? I'm going to keep learning. It won't be classroom learning necessarily. I'm going to let them other two generations teach me. What's your name? Uh-huh. Randall, I don't know which generation you're in, but you look young to me. Okay. Randall, I'm going to say, Randall, come in my office, bring your iPad, and show me how to do it. Randall will be glad to teach me. They're glad to teach us. Oh, yeah. But only thing I'll tell Randall is, Randall, just have a little patience with me. Okay? Please have some patience with me. But once I get it, I got it. He'll be more than glad, because when he teaches me, then I'm going to do something for him. I'm going to get him ready. And he knows that. It's teamwork. All the generations are important. But when we have, I want to use that particular group, generational differences, I want to use that as an example of how people react to a workplace that's not civil. And then when you have all of that happening, you cannot be productive. You cannot be productive. And then HR is going to be wondering, how come everybody's running out of your office? Something's wrong over there in that office. Why do you have EEO complaints, more than one? Why are some employees not participating? Because the word has gotten around. Why did you lose your Generation X talented person? We just hired them. All this money, all this training was spent on them. And your millennials just are leaving. And they're our future. How are we going to build our future courts when we're running people away because of not being civil? That's what that means. Okay? All right, let's go to this group right here, whoever your speaker is. Okay, all right.
Since I'm the communications person, I guess
I'll step up to the
step
plate.
up
That's
to
good.
that. One thing that we defined was as civility is extending courtesy without regard for position or status.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this is more just kind of bullet points. Noticing the inherent worth, or making sure that you know that people do have that worth, and recognizing the value that people bring to the office.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And some examples of a workplace that's not civil? Or the impact of it, rather.
Didn't really do that.
Okay, the impact. Okay.
Unless anybody else has some ideas what might have.
Go ahead, hon.
Well, we had some really good examples of,
Could you stand
hemorrhage.
up for us?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yes. We had some good examples of, you hemorrhage people. You just lose them. And that's
Stay with that one for a minute. Did you hear what they said? You hemorrhage people. People are bleeding. That is a totally sick, dysfunctional workplace where people are bleeding and hurting. Okay, keep going.
And so it was a very, very vivid image that we got from that. But, when you have the open conflict between those different people, even if you aren't involved in it, it affects you. And it spreads like a cancer, and it will move throughout the entire organization.
All right, very good. Thank you, both of you. Let me give you an example of the hemorrhaging, and even if I'm not a part of that hemorrhaging, how it affects me, how it affects a person. I was doing I do a lot of retreats for people, and I do strategic planning retreats. And I was at a retreat. The SES, Senior Executive Officer, brought me in. Senior Executive Service is federal government, and most of those folks are appointed by the president, okay, to get that to that level. Highly, highly, highly paid. She brought me in, and she kind of told me about some dynamics that there, and this was an all managers group, that sometimes that the managers, okay, predominantly male, a few females, go head to head. They have turf battles over who's getting what and this and that. I said, okay, well, that's not my purpose to come. My purpose is to come to do what? The strategic plan. Help you all get your strategic plan down in writing. As a facilitator, that's what I was. That was my role that day. So I came. Oh my gosh, we got halfway through the day. Progress, strategic plan, goals, outcomes, results. What is it going to look like? And they have their meetings on Wednesday, and they wanted to do it on a Wednesday. Before noontime, my 2 6-feet+ tall gentlemen, there's only 2 of them that do it every week. They do it every week. Started yelling, screaming, hollering, calling each other names, cursing. I wouldn't have believed it unless I saw it. She had kind of warned me. But that wasn't my purpose for, I was coming to do strategic planning, not to do behavioral modification. And I say 6 feet+, I mean real tall, so you know, sometimes people will use their body with aggression. And there's no way I could have accomplished the rest of my task. I had to put the meeting on hold, let all the other non-participants in that dynamic go take a break because they were like cringing. And I took both of them out to the hall. I say 6 feet for a reason because I'm not 6 feet, okay? And I'm not afraid of you. And I told both of them, I said, I have never seen any behavior that was so horrible than you. I said, I don't expect this out of you. Both of you are getting ready to be an SES. They both got SES selection, just didn't put it in their pay grade yet. I said, both of you are getting ready to be SES, Senior Executive Service. I said, I can't believe that you would act this way, that you would stop the productivity and the progression of what we were trying to get done today. And they went back and forth. Well, Jackie, he does this. Jackie, back and forth, back and forth. I stopped it. And one of them I knew. I took him to the side. I knew him. And I said, you know what? I'm disappointed in you. I think that behavior was shameful, that you would even let him push your button. And I don't think you're ready to be an SES because that's too critical of a role in an organization. He said, but Jackie, he always does. I said, it doesn't matter what he always does. Okay? Here's the other thing. When they have their regular Wednesday morning meetings, some people call what? Call out. Some people call out and stay at home. Some of the managers stay at home. That was the other dynamic. Some of the managers stay at home because they would tell their spouses and their family, I go to this meeting every week, and every week it's the same dynamics. And it makes me what? Sick. It makes me sick. It puts people in fear because you don't know if these people are going to start fighting, and they are at each other's throats. People just start fighting, and so they call out. So again, you can't have your meeting because key people are not there to have the dialogue. Here's another piece to this. Who else do you think knows about this management meeting on Wednesday and they laugh? Who else knows about it? Their staff from all the different locations. They know about it and they laugh. And they have no respect for their leaders. Now, somebody needs to be held accountable for this, right? Okay? Who do you think I held accountable for it and I had a crucial conversation with this person? Their SES. I said, how dare you first of all, bring me into this mess. You're paying me to get something done, a strategic plan. You did tell me about their behavior, but I really didn't think they were going to do this on this particular day. I said, but you should have addressed this a long time ago. It's affecting your staff. It's affecting the productivity. It's a hostile work environment. These guys may start physically fighting. They're cursing each other out. Somebody's going to take a blow in a moment. 2 tall, strong men who are not intimidated by either or. They're not afraid of each other. They're in each other's face that close. I said, you're going to have workplace violence here. I hold you responsible for it. I said, why have you not stopped this? Never could give me an answer, but what do you think the reason was? Say it again, I heard it over here. She was afraid of them. She was afraid of them. I said, but you signed off on them becoming SESs. They're not ready. So you can't have that. You see the impact that it has on everybody? On everybody? And the managers that didn't like it, they would just stay home. Because it was making them sick. physically. See, a workplace that is hostile can make you sick, literally. Number one is called stress. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Okay, this group over here, if you can share your thoughts.
We had a lot of main ingredients for the definition. Treat people cordially, be fair, listen, don't prejudge, treat everyone equally. And the impact of the workplace is stress, chaos, low morale, low productivity, high turnover, dissatisfied customers, and possible legal actions.
Got all of that. Very good. Good job. Let's give them a hand. Good job. I'm focusing more on the impact of it because we are there to provide a service. We are there to be productive. We are there to have great quality, excellent service. And if you have a workplace that's not civil because of the dynamics and behaviors, okay, that's how it impacts it. I think if I were a person that was in charge of an entire organization, and if I had a division under my organization that had that kind of stuff, I would remove the leader immediately because it's a disservice to the staff and it's a disservice to the customers. And the job is not getting done, not efficiently and not effectively. I would remove them. I'd have a crucial conversation and tell them that you need to go and bring somebody in that's going to correct that. That's why you have to set the tone early on, the tone of civility. Okay. All right, this group over here.
Our definition was the act of being respectful and accepting regardless of the difference. Our ingredients were kind words, acknowledgement, respect feelings, manners, listening, empowerment, giving a voice to the person, fairness, not interrupting, check your title or your ego at the door, inclusiveness. And we also got to discussing, like, if you have a large staff of people, maybe doing the introvert-extrovert test to kind of figure out how you deal with people, because some people aren't that, you know, in your face, want to talk to you all the time. Some just want to say good morning and go, you know, to their office, and some want to say good morning, my weekend was like da-da-da-da. Impact of a non-civil place is vicious cycle, threatening, low work productivity, hostile, you have a high turnover rate, high absentees, and you get sabotaged.
Outstanding. Good job. Okay. Something you mentioned too, as managers, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have taken the psychological tools. I've taken them. The Myers-Briggs, for example. Okay. The other one is the Thomas Kilmann conflict tool. Okay, it tells you your conflict style. Myers-Briggs tells you your personality style. And then there's one called the DISC assessment. The DISC assessment tells you your communication style. Those tools are just for you. Okay, so you can look at your conflict style, your communication style, and your personality, and how that will impact others. So tools are important to do. You can also do it as a team where your staff can do it with you so that they'll know how they are with each other on the staff. So very good. Okay, let's take a look at our definitions and move forward. Okay, thank you all for participating in that activity. All right, let me give you a working definition of civility. My definition, okay? Civility is treating people with dignity and respect, showing courtesy and amiability to others by our behavior. Civility is being polite, kind, and decent to others. Okay? Polite, kind, and decent to others. Civility what? Matters. And if you can think of it mattering from the work productivity point of view, that's the point. Okay? Build that into your workplace. Build that in, and it begins with who? The manager. Okay, here's something that I want to share with you. I've been at Macomb conferences before. Okay, I was the one we had in back in Maryland, in New Jersey actually. That was up in Atlantic City, and then the year before that I was in Ocean City, Maryland, as a workshop presenter, and that's how they heard me and asked me to come back to Atlantic City to be the keynote. And then I've gone to some of the state conferences, the great state of Virginia. Anybody from Virginia here? Yeah, the great state of Virginia. I did their conference last year in Norfolk. And they've invited me back just to do a training for the clerks of the court, just the clerks only. The clerks and I believe the judges as well are going to be in this together. So I'm very familiar with the work that you all do, the great work that you all do, and the skills and the talents and the experience and education that you need to have in order to do this critical work, okay, critical work. So let's look at a definition for civility continuing. Civility is connecting and including all. I heard inclusiveness. It is fairness and equitable treatment of everyone. It is the acceptance and respect of what? of human life. So, again, it is the acceptance and respect of human life. Treat people like human beings, like you would want to be treated. We're all human. But see, you know what holds us back from being civil? Our isms. Our isms. And let me talk about the isms real quick. I didn't mention it in the plenary. But isms begin with our biases. It's like a level of isms. It begins with our biases that we have about somebody, okay? Whatever the bias may be. If we don't put our biases in check or recognize our biases and do something about our biases, it goes into misassumptions or assumptions about people. You're assuming things about people. You're assuming things about me and you don't even know me. You're assuming things about me. I'm an African-American, Native American woman, and you don't even know me. You're assuming things about me I'm from the great state of Maryland, but I'm moving. I've been to California. I've been to Texas. I've been to other places. I know there are other places. You're assuming things about me. You're assuming things about me. You don't even know me. Assumptions. And then, of course, assumptions can lead to misperceptions. And then you put me in a box, and it's called stereotypes. You're stereotyping me. That's like stereotyping all the different generations. We can't stereotype. There are some general characteristics because of the events in their life and the time period that they grew up in. That's history. But everybody's not like everybody. You're stereotyping me. And if the stereotypes are not put in check, it's called what? Now you're becoming prejudiced towards me, and you're making managerial decisions about me because of your prejudice. Managerial decisions about me because of your prejudice. And one of them is that you're not including me. I don't get all the employment benefits like everybody else, and I'm qualified to get it. And I've shown you how hard I work, shown you how the passion that I have for the work. And you just leave me out. So now you're making this is where it gets dangerous. Now you're making managerial decisions about me, okay? And then if that's not put in check, your prejudice, then it becomes discrimination. And if I'm a baby boomer, I'm gonna file a complaint against you. That's what we do, okay? If you won't listen to us and be fair to us, okay? All right, human life. Bullying, okay, bullying, repeated. Yeah, don't have a laser here. Repeated aggressive behavior. It's repeated aggressive behavior. It's not just one time. It is a culture. It's the way you are. Repeated aggressive behavior intended to harm another person physically or mentally, to break me down mentally where I don't want to be there or I get sick and I have to go to the hospital because of it. Okay, I'm on medication because of it. I get depression because of it. Okay, I have physical disease because of it. Look at what you've done to another human being. Look at what you've done to another human being. And if you did it with intent, shame on you. And if you didn't do it with intent, then you needed to know how you are, how you impact other people. Look at what you've done to another human being. I've seen that happen before. Okay, it also involves irrational, because it is irrational. I don't understand it, why people are like that. Humiliating or threatening of others. So let's look at some statistics real quick. 13% of U.S. workers are being bullied. 1 in 3 employees have experienced bullying at some point in their work lives. 49% of American workers have been affected by workplace bullying. 20% of bullying results in harassment. 60% workplace bullies are men. 70% of women bullies tend to bully other who? Women, yes they do. I've seen that too. Daggone bully woman. Okay? Shame on you. Okay? 50% of workplace bullying victims are women. 57% of workplace bullying victims are women. 43% are men. 51% is Hispanics, 46% blacks, 33% whites, and 30% are Asian. 57% of the Asians, 49.7% of the whites, 32% of the Hispanics, and 24% of the blacks never experienced or witnessed mistreatment. It's estimated that $50 billion a year is spent on bullying, from absenteeism, labor turnover, loss of productivity, legal and medical costs. $50 billion industry that we give to the medical community. It's enough that we have to give money anyway, but for this? That's why I'm saying if a person is a leader and they allow this to happen, or if they are the bully themselves, he or she needs to go. It's costing the agency some money. And then if it goes into the newspaper because somebody files an EEO complaint, look at the image that the agency has because of one person. And because you, top management, you didn't address it. And sometimes top managers bully middle managers. Often, you find it there too. Yes. Oh, the definition. Okay, I'm not going to go back that far. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I can play the silence role and not hear you and not, what, include you. I can not hear your ideas. I cannot address your issues. I cannot include you in employment opportunities and say I have a reason for not having. Absolutely. That quiet one is even more dangerous to me. They're even more dangerous, and they do it with purpose, okay, because they don't want to get themselves in trouble. Okay? All right. Consequences of bullying can lead to workplace violence. We talked about that. Lack of productivity. You all have addressed these. Absenteeism, tardiness. It becomes a what environment? A hostile workplace, poor performance, negative effects on health, poor customer satisfaction, and then it ends up in complaints as well. Lack of professionalism, conflict, and poor problem solving. It becomes a lack of a safe workplace. And what I want to mention about this one, you can end up, if you don't address workplace bullying, you can end up in not only a hostile work environment, but you can end up in a workplace that people end up getting hurt physically, okay? And that's workplace violence, physically. All across this country, it has happened. You ever heard of the term going postal? Remember those days? Where does that come from? Which agency? United States Post Office back in the 90s. What was happening all across this country? I remember it happening in New Jersey, and I remember it happening all across this country. What was happening if you inside the U.S. postal offices? Huh? Discipline on employee, but doing what? Shooting people. Let's just get to the point. Shooting people, killing people. Okay? And you know what they found out after they investigated? Because one time you hear that, you say it's one time. But when you start hearing that all across this country, and as a customer, I was going in there like this. Okay? Ducking and dodging. Didn't want to be there. I didn't feel safe in the United States Post offices. Okay? But what they found out, it was at the management level. Okay? Their managers had never been trained on one class of supervision, supervision 101. They never had supervision 101. They came from the ranks. That means now I was your buddy, but now I'm your, okay? They came from the ranks. No training whatsoever on how to be a supervisor. And what they did was they fired a lot of supervisors, fired them on the spot. And it was mandatory supervision training every quarter, like 8 hours of training, okay? And they had SWAT teams all around the country. I'll never forget that. It scared me half to death to be a customer of them, okay? Lack of a safe workplace, low motivation and passion for the work. You ever seen someone that's very passionate, energized, happy, wanting to work, wanting to serve, wanting to give? I love that kind of person. But then if you've taken their passion away, and now they don't seem happy, they seem sad every time they come to work, what have you done? I think taking someone's passion away is one of the worst things you could ever do to them. It really is. You've sucked the life out of them, and it's toxic. Overall mission does not meet or exceed the expectations of the organization. Don't talk about excellence. Okay, here's some examples. Yelling, screaming, hollering. Encouraging a person to quit the job because you don't like them or you hate them. Gossip, constant criticism and verbally abusing others. Not including others in decisions, meetings, or other work-related activities. That would be the silent route. Retaliation against the person because they do bring a complaint. Falsely accusing errors they did not make. In other words, you're lying. You're lying on me. I didn't do it. Discounting my ideas, feelings, and suggestions. Encouraging others to turn against me. That's the gang mentality. That's the gang. That's the gang mentality. It's horrible. Publicly ridiculing others in front of others. Creating a hostile work environment. Discrimination of any kind. Harassment of any kind. Okay. Strategies. Leaders should set the tone of civility from early on, build that into the organization. Leaders should not tolerate any behavior like that. Immediately eradicate it. Immediately, that's your job, to keep everybody safe and secure so they can do their jobs. Hold everybody accountable. Should have an attitude that demonstrates that everyone is an asset, everyone matters. Have a written policy that clearly outlines the consequences of not being civil. Have a policy, make sure everybody has it. Not only in writing, but you verbally communicated it on more than one occasion, that you will not tolerate behavior that's not civil. Hold managers accountable for not addressing a workplace that is not civil, and training for everybody. That's it. Thank you for giving service here at your court administrators conference, and I thank you very much. Give yourselves a hand. Okay, okay folks.